Part 35. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 341. Chapter 341. After Fen Ling released his auxiliary system power, Feng Tian's injuries improved visibly. Because Feng Tian had not been treated by other auxiliary system therapists, he did not know that Fen Ling's healing ability was almost heaven-defying. At this stage, no therapist can make the wound visibly improve. Basically, it can only make the wound heal a little bit, which is already very good. Like Fen Ling, people know that they are there to rob people. When there are only 7 people left, the remaining people will know the correctness of Fen Ling's words. They looked at Fen Ling with a little fear in their eyes. Let's go. After Fen Ling treated Feng Tian, she pulled him away without even looking at anyone else. Other people. Well, it's all their fault. They didn't listen to the little girl. They can't blame the little girl for not giving them a look. So they followed Fen Ling in despair. In the following time, Fen Ling killed several zombies one after another. They basically followed Fen Ling to pick up the slack. And enjoy it endlessly. It feels so good to have the feeling of being led by a big boss. Fen Ling was almost done, so he took them back. At this time, he heard the news that the second echelon was wiped out. The person who brought them here took them back without even looking at them. For them, death is death, as long as the mission is completed. Except when Fen Ling first started, he said to the commander, "If more people come back than die, how can you ensure that every time you come here you are not increasing the number of zombies but exterminating them? Because, as long as they are bitten by zombies, they will definitely become zombies. This is an eternal truth." The commander glanced at Fen Ling and said, "I will go back and report." None of them had thought of this point mentioned by Fen Ling before. If it is true as Fen Ling said, then their policy will change. Fen Ling nodded and left. After all, this is not her base and has nothing to do with her. She just reminded her kindly that as for what to do next, it depends on the person in charge of the base. Anyway, she only needs Feng Tian and the others to have a place to live. What else does it have to do with her? When one base is gone, there is still another one. The land is vast and abundant, and she can go anywhere. By the way, you did a good job this time, Fen Ling said to the original body. The girl was stunned for a moment and then laughed shyly. Only then did Fen Ling realize that the little girl was still an introvert. Similarly, if he were outgoing, he wouldn't have kept silent to Feng Tian for so long. If it were her, no matter what, she would talk it out with Feng Tian no matter what, and the next step would be how to get along with him and how to deal with this matter. Because, everything must have a solution. If there is no solution, then it will be a piece of loose sand. She doesn't like this. You should think carefully about things with your father, but I want to remind you that time is a very precious thing in this world. Some things should not be lost before you can get them. Okay, I understand. The girl nodded, looking obviously still hesitating. Fen Ling didn't say anything. For the next few days, they stayed in the room like salted fish. That day, after the commander told the leader paid great attention to it and even asked him who raised the question. The commander mentioned Fen Ling's name. The leader felt that Fen Ling was a promising talent and wanted to inquire about her. However, when he inquired about her, he found that she was either sleeping or lying down these days. There is no intention, this is obviously a salty fish. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 342. Chapter 342. On the 10th day, suddenly the ground began to move, and the movement was so loud that even Qian Yu and Qian Chen were awakened from their sleep. Fen Ling knows that the zombie wave is coming to me, which is a particularly terrifying thing, because if it cannot be resisted, then the base will be destroyed next. Everyone is already at the city gate getting ready. The water type, fire type, and wood type psychics who attack from a distance are all ready to attack below, but they still can't stop the zombies. Fenling took a look at the situation. If the situation in this base could not be changed within half an hour, then it is very likely that he would not be able to stay any longer. Pack it up first and be ready to withdraw at any time, Fenling said to Feng Tian. Feng Tian frowned, but where should we retreat? Nowhere is safe now. Retreat to the east. There is a hole in the east that you can get out of. There is no zombie wave there now. All the zombies' attention is on the city gate, and there won't be many blocking it on the other side. Even if this place can resist, they do not plan to live here anymore, because the number of zombies here obviously does not meet the requirements. If they continue to live here, they will be completely unable to resist the next time. Well, okay, Qianyu and Chen, you also go and prepare. I'll go to the city gate with you and have a look. Qian Chen looked at Fenling and said. Fenling smiled playfully, how did you know I was going to the city gate? You will definitely go because you don't want them to die like this. You are capable and you can help them at least survive this time. Fenling raised her eyebrows and patted his head, you are quite smart with your little head. Yes, I am indeed planning to go somewhere. If you want to go there, yes, I will take you to see it. After all, you will grow up sooner or later. Of. Qian Chen pursed his lips and wanted to tell him not to pat him on the head. He was not a child anymore, he was already 6 years old. Fenling, in my eyes, a 6-year-old is a child, and he can shoot as he pleases. Qian Chen. What a distressing thing. The crisis at the city gate is great. Fenling took a look, and then said to Qian Chen, let's come here. Fenling found a place where the people at the city gate couldn't see them, and then started to release auxiliary powers. Because her current ability was not enough to release in groups, she accurately targeted several lords with relatively powerful powers. Several people were fighting, and suddenly they felt that their body strength began to increase. They were feeling all this in a daze, trying to see who was helping them, but they saw nothing, so they could only continue to fight in silence. After a long time, the pressure on the city gate increased, and Fenling's power was immediately used up. She withdrew her power, and then looked at Qianyu, let's go. Okay, sister, are you okay? Qian Chen looked at Fenling with some worry. Fenling had used many powers just now, and he was worried that she would not be able to recover. Fenling shook her head, it doesn't matter, I know what's going on. That's good. Qian Chen breathed a sigh of relief, then took Fenling's hand and left together. During the days of contact with Fenling, Qian Chen has slowly let down his guard against Fenling, so now, Qian Chen likes Fenling even more than Qianyu and sticks to Fenling. In this regard, Fenling said that she didn't know why she was so popular among children. Perhaps, this is also a kind of ability. I guess so. Anyway, they escaped. Fenling also turned over a car and exchanged it for grain. Several people got into the car and Fenling drove. Feng Tian never knew that his daughter could drive. He looked at Fenling in surprise. Fenling pursed her lips. Well, it seems that she accidentally did something wrong. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 343. Chapter 343. They all lived smoothly in the following days, but Fenling still didn't meet Yeking-han. She was anxious, but she couldn't show it at all. She didn't know when she would encounter it. It was such a complicated world in a vast sea of people. If she wanted Yeking-han to know about her, the only possibility was to make herself famous. Only she would be famous, Yeking-han. It is possible to know yourself from other people's mouths. What? Are you talking about Fenling? I don't know. I was there 2 days ago, but then I don't know where I went. It was like disappearing suddenly. You're talking about that little girl. That little girl gave me some very good advice before I reported it to the leader and rewarded me with a bag of rice. I haven't thanked her properly yet. By the way, she may be at home these 2 days, her home is. What Fen Ling didn't know was that 2 days after she left, Ye King Han came over and found the house where Fen Ling lived. Almost as soon as he entered, Ye King Han knew that Fen Ling must have lived here, because, here she has a very nice smell. This smell was something he had never smelled on anyone else before. Ye King Han pursed his lips and said, "Ling Ling, I'm here, just wait." As long as he waits, he will definitely find it. Fen Ling did not expect that others would remember the name Fen Ling just because of her casual words, but it was obvious that her current idea was correct. Now, after Ye King Han also inspected the terrain, he knew where Fen Ling was going and where he was going. Probably because of their mutual understanding, the two of them were walking in the same direction without even realizing it. City B. It was fortunate that this place was the only surviving city. Because of the militarized management, the superpowers had already killed all the zombies at the beginning. In the following days, they demolished the city walls. As long as there are zombies, they will kill them, and everyone in the city is safe. It can be said that this place is the best. Even Fen Ling thinks the leader there is great. However, to enter this place, a particularly strict hierarchy is required. When Fen Ling and Fen Tian were about to enter with Jian Yu Jian Chen, they were intercepted outside. What kind of power? Water system. Qin Yu and Jian Chen glanced at each other and said nothing. Sister said, "Don't say they have special powers. They are still children and have not yet been inspired," Fen Ling said casually. "Register and then go to that place. If you pass the exam, you can go in. However, you only have one chance and you won't be able to come in next time." Okay, Fen Ling nodded, "I'll go in first, you guys wait for me outside." She must see what types of questions have been asked in recent years. "Okay, sister." "Okay, take care of yourself," Fen Tian instructed. Fen Ling nodded, "Okay dad, I understand." After Fen Ling entered, she found that it was not an ordinary examination room, but had questions based on each person's attributes. For example, if Fen Ling had a water attribute, then there would be a wood-type superpower opposite her to fight with her. But, who is Fen Ling? A water-based light-based superpower with all-in-one support, how could he be afraid of a small wood-based superpower? "I advise you to admit defeat now." Fen Ling was giving her advice sincerely. After all, she can't control her own powers very well now, so it's not a big deal. "Impossible, fight quickly." The other party thought Fen Ling was afraid. "Fen Ling, are you sure? I can't control my own abilities now, and it's easy for me to make mistakes." End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 344. Chapter 344. When the man saw Fen Ling procrastinating, he laughed, and his vigilance completely disappeared. "Little girl, you must be scared. Listen to my brother and leave quickly. This place is not for girls like you to come in. Nowadays, girls in the city are subordinate to men, and not many women can truly become guardians. When a little girl like Fen Ling goes in, she can't just become an accessory. It's better to feel comfortable outside." He reminded her sincerely. Fen Ling laughed, "You may have misunderstood what I meant, but since you don't mind fighting me, it doesn't matter." "What?" The man was stunned for a moment, as if he didn't understand what Fen Ling said. Fen Ling didn't care about the man's words and just attacked directly. Before the man could see clearly, he was knocked away and almost killed in one blow. Fen Ling didn't even use his own powers. Why is this girl so powerful?" The man looked at Fen Ling in horror, always thinking that she was a monster. "Why, do you still want to fight me now? We should compare our abilities. You just didn't count. He is a man, so of course he cannot admit that he is weaker than a woman. How is this possible? Then continue. Feng Ling suddenly felt energetic as she stood. She felt that if she didn't educate the men in the city, she wouldn't be called Feng Ling. There is something going on in my mind all day long, it's really weird. In the end, when the man was beaten to the point where he was lying on his back, and when the vines were cut down a lot, he realized that this is not a little girl, she is clearly a devil. Okay. Really are. I win, Dad, you go in, Feng Ling said. The man at the door stared at Feng Ling dumbfounded. He felt as if he had just walked around inside. He began to wonder if there was a person with supernatural powers inside just now. Why did he come out so quickly? Usually we have to play for 10 minutes, how about 5 minutes? And you really won? Is this normal? Don't underestimate women, and don't think that women are a burden or a vassal. Only those who regard themselves as vassals are real vassals. And I think you have just seen the real women of this era. I've seen it, I've seen it. When Feng Ling was explaining the truth to him, the man nodded more vigorously than anything else. How can you not know this? Everyone is going to die. He looked at Feng Ling's leaving figure, very cool, very cool. Now he felt as if he was a sandbag. Feng Ling was in a bad mood today, so she came to beat him up. The man became more and more depressed when he thought about it, but what made him even more depressed was that the girl's father turned out to have ice powers, and ice was a mutant power. If you are higher than them, you can't beat them. It turned out that they really couldn't defeat him. The man once again watched Feng Ling's father walk out leisurely. He was sleepy and went to work today just to make himself angry. He shouldn't have come to work at all today. Okay, take care of these two children by yourself, because we allow a person with superpowers to take care of one child, so these two children can be registered in your name separately, but you must protect them, because their life and death we don't care, we just care that there are no zombies in the city. The person in charge said. Feng Ling nodded, okay, I understand, I will take good care of them. Feng Ling agrees with this point. After all, in this world today, sympathy has long been gone. The word sympathy is the cheapest existence. No one will have sympathy because you are pitiful. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 345. Chapter 345. Okay, you guys go in. The gatekeeper probably didn't have much patience, so he waved his hand to let Feng Ling in. Feng Ling curled her lips, and then let Feng Tian and the two children in. There are indeed many men in the city, but there are almost no women walking around. It seems that there is no corner for women to stand in this place. So, when they saw Feng Ling and her two children, everyone's eyes fell on them unconsciously. There's no way, it's really so eye-catching that it's impossible not to pay attention to it. Feng Ling. Let's find a place to live first, Feng Ling said to Feng Tian. Of course, Feng Tian also saw everyone looking at his daughter, and he felt very unhappy at the moment. Speaking of which, he hadn't seen enough of his daughter. How could these dog men look at her? What are you looking at? Hurry up and leave. Feng Tian roared at the group of people fiercely. With such a roar, everyone felt that Feng Tian must be very powerful, and they left instantly, full of awe for Feng Tian. Seems to understand something. Feng Ling twitched her lips. Wait a minute, you didn't understand, that's her dad. Her dad. However, it is useless to explain it, because in this place, women seem to be destined to be accessories. Feng Ling sighed, and then pulled Feng Tian towards the place where the house was sold. What are you doing? The salesman asked when he saw Feng Ling. Buy house. Feng Ling glanced at the price tag next to him and sighed, he had a bad heart. What do you want, a small high-rise villa, or a floor-to-ceiling villa? Feng Ling glanced at it, even if it was to lay a floor, it would cost 10 kilograms of rice a month. Normal people should not be able to afford this. No wonder there were so many people outside just like beggars. But fortunately, she has a lot of space and things. I want a villa. Fenling pointed, be quieter. It is rare to see someone who has just come in asking for a villa. The man was stunned for a moment. The villa requires 50 kilograms of rice per day. Good. Fenling typed in one breath, where do you want to collect your things? After all, if this thing were in this place, I'm afraid it would have to be smashed rather than deceived. The man was stunned for a moment, and then said, this way, miss, please come this way. No way, no way, he won't really be able to meet a big customer today. The man's eyes lit up. Then, after seeing Fenling's rent for 1 month, the man felt dizzy. How should I put it, there were too many things and he couldn't count. Are you okay? Fenling looked at the man and felt that he was about to faint, but if you faint, you will faint. Give her the key to her house first. Okay, okay, okay. The man gave Fenling the key and respectfully sent Fenling out. Everyone had been looking at Fenling, and when they saw the man sending them out so respectfully, they thought it was Fentian at first, but later, they found out that it was Fenling, which made everyone confused. What happened? Why do you feel like something is wrong? Shouldn't Fentian be given as a gift? What's going on? Why are you so respectful to that girl? Someone was very curious and came over to ask. The younger brother sighed, how can I be rude? I bought a villa and paid 1 month's rent at a time. The sound of gasping came one after another without stopping. Fenling didn't care what those people were thinking. Anyway, she took Feng Tian and the 2 children there. I have to say that this villa is quite good. At least the space is big. The 4 of them can have a room each. But Kinyu and Qian Chen were used to sleeping together, but to their surprise, there was a room with a double bed. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 346. Chapter 346. Okay, it's getting late today, you should go to bed early. Fenling waved her hand and went back to the room. It wasn't that she was tired, but that she wanted to go out and look for Yeking Han. Because the system just told her that Yeking Han was probably on her way here. In other words, Yeking Han probably went to her previous base and then came here. In this case, she would most likely run into Yeking Han when she returned the same way. Just as Fenling thought, she really met Yeking Han halfway. Yeking Han saw Fenling and recognized him at a glance. Ling Ling. Yeking Han, I finally found you. Fenling had been holding back from crying, but at this moment, even Fenling threw herself into Yeking Han's arms and started crying. I thought you didn't want me. Sorry, I haven't been able to find you. I'm sorry, I'm late, I won't come again. Yeking Han hugged Fenling distressedly, patting her constantly to comfort her. Sometimes, some emotions don't require too many words, just listening well is enough, just like Fenling, like Yeking Han. I went to several interfaces, but you were not there in some places. How did you get here? After Fenling calmed down, she started to ask Yeking Han. Yeking Han said, it should be the system. After this world, the system also appeared, so I suspect that it should be a problem with the system. Yeking Han thought for a while, and then told Fenling what the system told him. The system told me that after this world ends, we may go to another world, and then after completing the mission in that world, we can go back to the original world, our first world. At that time, we will become real people and live well as humans. But at that time, they will also leave. The man is talking about the system. This is something Fenling didn't expect. In fact, Fenling didn't like it when the system first came into existence. Sometimes, she even wondered if there wouldn't be so many things without the system. But now, suddenly saying that the system might leave one day, Fenling suddenly couldn't bear to leave it. "Are you really going to leave?" Fenling asked her system. After a long time, a gentle hum came from the space of consciousness. Fenling pursed her lips and said, "It's okay. At least we are still here. In the coming days, no matter how long it takes, we will go together." "Okay, let's go together." The system's mood doesn't seem to be very high. Actually, Yeking-han did not tell Fenling that at that time, the system would completely disappear in the parallel space. In other words, they would only have so much time to survive. The system seemed to know what Yeking-han meant, so after feeling sad for a while, he said, "Lingling, it's okay. If we leave you, we will help others, so don't be sad. We have another person. It's a disaster. You should be happy that we are no longer a disaster." "Ha ha ha, you are really hurting me," Fenling said with a smile, and her mood was not as bad as it was at the beginning. However, the system in Yeking-han's mind did lower his head and said, "Would you be sad if I left?" "Yes, so I will cherish the present more," Yeking-han answered honestly. The system suddenly laughed. "I thought you wouldn't be reluctant to leave me, as long as you will be sad. You must always remember me. You are my first and last master. I will never forget you. After this journey, I really say goodbye." "Yeking-han, actually, I didn't tell you that if you behave well, maybe you don't have to wait for this world." End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 347. Chapter 347. Perhaps when this world ends, it's time for us to say goodbye. It sighed, but after all, it didn't say goodbye to Yeking-han. It doesn't want to make Yeking-han sad either. Yeking-han wants to protect Fenling, and it only wants to protect Yeking-han. Their system is actually very simple. I don't know if they were born just to contribute to others. For them, they are lucky to have a particularly good master. Fortunately, it should be considered a lucky system. The two systems glanced at each other, and then fell silent. Yeking-han and Fenling returned to City B together, where Yeking-han tortured the man like Fenling and went in. That person. What the did he encounter today? Why are they all so powerful? Is it because he is too weak? No, he has obviously improved a lot. The man scratched his head and ears. Speechless and choked. When Feng Tian saw Yeking-han, he was very wary. Only Fenling himself said to Feng Tian, "This is a friend. From today on, he will accompany us and join our team." How old is the young man? 28. 28, a bit old. Yeking-han. This body is so old, what can he do? The original body in the posture space laughed. She has never seen Feng Tian like this before, this is the first time. "Sister, I think he is so funny." She realized for the first time that her father could be jealous. Fenling curled her lips. Yes, Feng Tian is such a person who loves his daughter very much. If it weren't for the original mother, they would be a particularly happy family. This is your dad. You can get to know him thoroughly through this period of time. I still say that the most comprehensive way to understand a person is from God's perspective. Yes, sister, I understand. In fact, these days, she is very aware of the changes in her attitude towards Feng Tian. She doesn't seem to hate Feng Tian that much now. However, she wanted to watch it for a while longer, because some things could not be easily forgiven. It doesn't mean to forgive, it should be said to let go. The girl looked at Feng Tian, her father's hair seemed to be white again. You can watch it slowly, because after a certain level, the age of a person with superpowers will gradually increase. Your father is very talented, so you can grow up with your father. When the time comes, his appearance will always be fixed. At this time, you will not grow old. Then sister means that I can stay this age forever. This is what the original person did not expect. Yes, so, you can work hard, your talent is very good. Of course, some talents do not belong to the original person, but are added to the original person by Fengling, such as full support, such as the light system. However, this thing will leave with Fengling and continue to stay in the original owner's body. Therefore, Fengling will not hinder the development of these two abilities now. In a sense, this thing is a gift to the original owner. After all, they also help each other. Okay, sister. The original person nodded, with a little excitement in his eyes. There is a competition here. As long as you win the competition, you can get something. Betting on this thing is the best way to make money. The common currency in City B is a special card. The numbers on the card allow them to trade, so Fengling took them to apply for the card the next day. The people over there opened their mouths after seeing Ye King Han. Isn't this? However, just as he was about to say something, Ye King Han stopped him with a look. Big brother Ye doesn't seem to want Fengling to know his identity. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 348. Chapter 348. This is a card for you all, please keep it. Okay, thank you. After Fengling took the card from the waiter, she directly sold some food and went to place a bet, and she bet that she would win. Are you going to play too? Fengling looked at Ye King Han with twinkling eyes. Ye King Han shook his head. No, I will watch over you and protect you. Fengling smiled sweetly, then nodded, okay. Wait for the competition later. You can fight by yourself. If you can't, I will help you. This is the best way for you to improve your strength at present. Try to use the method I give you to fight. The purpose is not to win, but to adapt to your abilities. Do you know? Fengling and Yuan Shen said. The original person nodded. Sister, I understand. By the way, sister, I have never asked you, who is that brother? Do you like him? Fengling nodded. Yes, but like me, he traveled directly through time. After completing the mission, we will all leave, so you don't have to worry about us hindering your feelings. When you meet someone you like, just chase him. I will let Ye King Han keep a distance from your body. While I am in your body, I will not let Ye King Han do anything extraordinary to me. This is a promise to you. Well, thank you sister. The original person nodded. After solving the most worrying thing, the original person started to get serious. Everyone saw that it was a little girl coming, and they all started to laugh. Why is she a little girl? Do you know how to play? That's it. If you don't know how to play, then don't play. The profit is so low, forget it. I'll bet all my belongings if I can make a little bit. It's a little bit. Me too, ha ha ha. Let's get together. I just made a fortune yesterday, let's place a bet. Add me. Because everyone can know who the final winner is with almost no guessing, Fengling is getting more and more lively. Ye King Han curled her lips. She is really a cunning girl. But it's someone he likes. He also placed a bet, but when everyone saw clearly who he had bet on, they were all stunned. Then the whole crowd burst into laughter. You didn't make a mistake, did you? You fell for a woman. Is your brain okay? There's probably something wrong with it, ha ha ha. Ye King Han didn't care what they said, he just smiled lightly and said, I advise you not to bet all this money. Pfft, what do you know? Do you even need to think about this win-win situation? I think you should spend the rest of your money on Zhang Yun, and you can still save a little bit. That's right, ha ha ha. Ye King Han returned to his seat without saying a word. Everyone thought he was a fool. No one likes to give money. However, when the game started, everyone was dumbfounded. The little girl in front of them was very clever and restrained the opponent from the beginning. This is what Feng Ling recently taught the original body. When facing a strong opponent, one must strike first and at the same time preserve one's own physical strength. Physical strength is the most important at all times. Then use the cleverness of a girl to win. In this battle, Feng Ling actually won without having to take action. The moment the results came out, many people's faces turned dark. Only Ye Qinghan said calmly, "I didn't lie to you." "Everyone, I know you didn't lie to us, but is it useful? Is it useful? No, I still have no money." The most terrifying thing is that someone directly destroyed all their belongings, so now, he is a poor man without any money. They fainted immediately, but when they woke up, they still had to run for their lives. They looked at Zhang Yun with scarlet eyes and said, "Zhang Yun, what's wrong with you? Did you do it on purpose?" End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 349. Chapter 349. Zhang Yun himself said he was very innocent. He was already like this, with a bruised nose and a swollen face. How could anyone still ask him if he had sex? If he let the water go, would he become like this? Now, Zhang Yun wanted to hit someone very much, very much, but he couldn't because he was injured, and now his whole body was in pain. I'm not giving in. That girl is very powerful. Don't underestimate her. If you don't believe it, go check with her yourself. Don't watch the excitement here. It's not a big deal. Zhang Yun gave those people a cold look. Then left. He should be grateful today that the girl did not kill him. People in this place, as long as they compete, basically only one person will be left alive. This is the arena, and it is very cruel. But the girl didn't seem to do that. He could feel that after his complete failure, the girl stopped, and even withdrew a lot of force in the last blow. If it were not for inertia, it is likely that his current state would be even better. That girl. Zhang Yun narrowed his eyes and then left. How is it? Have you all placed bets on Zhang Yun? Feng Ling walked to Ye Qinghan and looked at the group of people. They looked like leeks. Leeks must be cut off. Everyone, they don't want to talk now, okay. Everyone glanced at Feng Ling and silently swallowed the bitter water. When Feng Ling and Ye Qinghan went back, they met a lot of people, and without exception, they were all robbed by Feng Ling. They were the ones who came after them. Do they blame her? Everyone. Now they know that Feng Ling is very powerful, so can they return their money? Everyone's heart was filled with sorrow and their flesh ached. Feng Ling took the money and left directly. However, not long after the peaceful days, bad news came, because City B had tasks. One of the tasks was to go to the Dark Night Forest to get a Ganoderma lucidum, but there were many zombies around the Ganoderma lucidum, so Feng Tian took it. That mission has not come back for a long time. The original person was very anxious, so he asked Feng Ling to go take a look. Feng Ling wanted to go and have a look, so she went with Ye Qinghan. Staying up late in the forest is dangerous, so we must be careful at all times. Ye Qinghan nodded. However, what Feng Ling didn't expect was that after entering the Zui forest, she would lose her way. It should be said that they entered an illusion. Someone created an illusion, but zombies cannot create illusions, so someone specifically wanted them to come over, so they kidnapped Feng Tian. Feng Ling's heart sank. The person who kidnapped Feng Tian should have done it for her, not Ye Qinghan. In other words, that person's target was Feng Ling. The girl sighed, but listened to the system telling her that it might have to send her away in half an hour because there was a problem with the system. Can you, Fenling told the original person about this matter. The original body shook, and then nodded. Sister, I can do it. I can definitely do it. Okay, I will try my best to help you find your father, but after you find your father, you will only have your own way forward. Sister, no, I still have a father. After Feng Tian disappeared, the girl realized her attachment to Feng Tian. He was her father. No matter what happened, he was still her father. Therefore, she could not sit idly by and do nothing, even though Feng Tian was a particularly courageous person. Although his mother died because of her, he took good care of her no matter what. Feng Tian loves her, and the girl knows this. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 350. Chapter 350. Found it, Dad. The moment she saw Feng Tian, the girl rushed over and threw herself on Feng Tian. Now, Feng Tian is very weak. Feng Ling has just treated him, but he needs to rest for half an hour before he can fully recover. Dad, are you okay? She just saw her father bleeding a lot. Although her sister told her that Feng Tian was fine, she was still very worried. Tears fell on Feng Tian, and the man touched the girl's head. Dad is fine, Lingling, you haven't been so close to Daddy for a long time. The girl shook her head. Dad, no, I forgive you. I don't blame you anymore. You are the only one I know in this world now. I don't want you to leave. If you leave, I will be alone. Dad, please promise me not to leave me like Mom did. Never. The girl was crying so hard that she was out of breath. Feng Ling looked at the girl and sighed. This is life. Sometimes you will be angry with your relatives, but in the end, you will find that only your relatives are worthy of trust. No one else can be trusted. But similarly, some relatives. Feng Ling shook her head. What was she thinking about? She still had Ye King Han, so there was nothing to worry about. She smiled, then looked at the girl and told the system, let's go. Leave now. The mission is over, and it's time for me to leave. By the way, will Ye King Han go with me? No, he still has a mission here, but I have told him that you are leaving, and he asked me to tell you that he will come to you, so don't worry. The system said. Feng Ling nodded, indicating that he understood, then closed his eyes and said, let's go. With a ray of white light, Feng Ling left that world. She left everything to the girl. The girl had space and everything that the heroine in the novel had. The space Feng Ling gave her was a small world. If the girl didn't like this world, she could stay with her father in the small world at any time. Live and practice in this world. The things in the small world are enough for them to cultivate until their lifespan is 500 years old. After 500 years old, they can only rely on themselves, but Feng Ling believes that their talents can give them eternal life. I just don't know what the girl will choose. Feng Ling looked at the world around her. It seemed to be a white world. The room was very empty. The girl was surrounded by broken glass and strips of cloth. The door is locked. There is a photo next to the girl's bed, but a piece of the thing in the photo is buckled. Feng Ling frowned. What kind of story is this? Don't worry, I'll send you the memory, the system said, and then transferred the memory to Feng Ling. In memory, this girl's name is Linguo. Linguo is 18 years old, but her relationship with her family is not good, especially with her stepmother and her brother. Because she felt that her stepmother had occupied her father, and her father should belong to her mother. But what Linguo didn't know was that her mother and her father never really loved each other, and the divorce was the result of their mutual discussion. However, their common need is to take good care of Linguo, but Linguo doesn't know all this. Lin Fang had no intention of telling Linguo, because in his heart, Linguo was his caring little cotton-padded jacket, except that he couldn't get along well with her stepmother and brother. It's time to eat, Kuakuo. Lin Fang came in, glanced at the ground, and sighed. The doctor said that Linguo was a little extreme and needed psychological treatment. But Linguo has no way to see people outside now. End of this chapter.